Thank you. So let me talk about layers. That's one of the things that's been real difficult in Illustrator. The way that Photoshop works, I think a bunch of you have got a raster class, and we talk about layers. When I open up a new Illustrator document, I'll just say File, New, Tabloid is fine. All this stuff over here on the right-hand side is fine. I'll click Create. I've got my properties and my layers. And so what layers allows us to do is to have kind of different levels of the document so you can work on different parts and then move them around. Deep into Illustrator, you kind of keep bumping things up against each other when you're trying to put them all on the same virtual layer. I'm going to start out with the layer here, and I'm going to call this background. You might recognize that from working with Photoshop. And then I'm going to choose File, Place. And this is a way that you all might start. In Illustrator, I've got it open. I have a layer called background. And I'm going to choose File, Place, and I'm going to get, here we go. I've got 87 Buick Grand National. So now I have this picture of a car that I've cut out. I've just downloaded from the internet. And what happened when I chose File, Place, I chose that file on my computer, and then they clipped it to my image or to my cursor here in Illustrator. And then I just came up here to the corner and dropped it in. I clicked to drop it in. Now I'm going to press Shift and straighten it out to just make it the size of my screen. What I'm doing here is I'm only using this to trace, like as a model, right? It's kind of cut out from a bigger picture that I just found somewhere else. So I don't want to do anything else with this other than have it be. I'm going to come over here to my layers menu and click in this blank spot here and lock it. Lock it down. That means it won't move. It won't interfere as we're working on it. You know what? Let me show you another one so you kind of get an idea of what I've been doing. So here's this 72 Mustang Fastback. And so here's this not a good quality picture I got off the internet. And I built this up with one layer that's the wheels that I've got to turn all of these on for. This one layer is the wheels. This actually is a background gradient layer. And then I made the body. And then I did all kind of the details for lights and things like that. And I used different Illustrator tools to make all of that happen. This kind of where things are stacked on top of each other, little pieces, makes a lot more sense to me than I think the way that the tutorials are built up until we get to the layers. You could see then in this picture that I did last night, I used the ellipse shapes and different pen tool paths, some rectangle and polygon shapes. I'm scrolling up and down the right-hand side here. I'm going to show you the path tool today, or the pen tool today that draws paths. I use some lines, and I use that reshape tool to make the door lines. I've got a shape builder to do kind of this back part that makes it look like it's not just looking through the car. There you go. Let's just sit on white. I think that's more fun, and I hope that we can maybe get into something a little more along these lines. I've got a bunch of examples kind of like this that I want to work on, and I've been having fun at it. So I hope that you all might be down with that as well. So I've got my background layer. Now I'm going to do the same kind of thing. I'm just going to come down here to the bottom right corner, click Create a New Layer, and this is layer 2. And I'll go ahead and call this wheels again. You've got the rim, you've got the wheel itself on the car, you've got the tire. In order to turn this into a two-dimensional object, I'm going to click on my ellipse tool and roll here into the middle of this wheel. When I hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, it'll draw the circle from the center of wherever you're at. And I'll hold down the Shift key as well to make it a perfect circle. But it's kind of an odd angle. It's like a 3/4 angle this car is at, so I don't need a perfect circle. So I'll do one like that. And then I'll come over here onto the back one, and I'll put my cursor in the middle and then just draw out to match that center of that wheel. And now, one of the cool things about Illustrator is I've made these shapes now, and what I'm going to do is I've got to shift click on the center of both of them, and then I'll click group. I've got them placed correctly and then the right size and all of that, but I want to keep them together, and I just click group. I shift selected both of them, and I click group, and I just want to move it out of the way now. Now I can build another part of the wheel and then come back to that. So now I got to come in here and get these. I've got to like the rim. I've got to back that out of the way and put my cursor back in the middle of the car here. I'm still on my wheels layer. I can click on this little caret here, this turnbuckle, And this group is those two inner circles. Then I'll come in here again, got into this document and onto that layer. I've got my ellipse tool chosen, and I'll use my option key again to draw that part. Now, I don't need this one to be the same color, so I'll change the color of the fill on this one to just something else. Then see, I'm just going to copy this one back to get the back one, and then I'll resize it. To copy one of your shapes, you would just choose Option. Actually, I'll go back to my selection tool, press Option, and you get see the two arrows, the black one and the white one together? That's a copy. And I'm just going to copy that back here. Then I'm just going to kind of smoosh it around until I get it by dragging these white dots. Anchor points is what they're called. I've got that same shape of the rim. All right. So now what we can do is, if you remember in one of the recent lessons, we talked about key objects. And so what we can do here is actually move these items up to center on the rims. Yeah, that's not really going to work. Shoot. That's all right, though. I'd hope because I had multiple things in a group, I would have to break the group apart and then reselect and do that. So it was more trouble than it's worth. So I'm going to press Command Z to go back. And what I'll do now instead is shift click on both of these parts of the wheel and press group. Then I'll take my wheel things and move them. It looks like I put them in the wrong place. And I've got to press Control and click on it, and then choose Arrange and Bring to Front. And there we go, right? We've made another part of those wheels. You know what I might do now to make another copy of that is I've selected the rim shapes, and I'll just press Command C and Command V to recreate those same shapes. I'm going to make them a little bigger proportionally, right? By shift dragging this out. Hang on, I don't want to do them both the same. So I'll press Command Z. I'll use my selection tool to click off of them and ungroup them as I click on them. I'll click on one, and I'm going to go ahead and fill this with something else so I can see the color change, right, when I put it down. What I'm doing here is trying to mimic the sidewall of this tire. It's just a little bit bigger. So if I want to, rather than visually doing it by grabbing those anchors, I can come up here on the right-hand side in the width box and enter 10%. Oops. And that that made it 10% of what it was. That's not what I wanted at all. What I want is for it to be maybe 110%, which will make it bigger, slightly bigger. Then I can come down, bring it down here, and kind of match it up over that tire shape. Which looks pretty good. I'll put Control and Arrange and Send to Back. So this is the way that I normally work. This is the way, layers, and you build up compositions one piece at a time. Without layers, this stuff would be way harder. And so I wanted to make sure that we just go ahead and get into layers now, because it's been tough to teach everything on a single layer. So again, on the width of this, what's going to be a wheel shape is 110%. I have to delete the IN for inches. Makes it just a little bit bigger. And I click on Fill and then Black, and I can grab on the center part here, and I've got to drag that right onto my tire. It doesn't look like that one really is fitting right. So I've got to grab one of those corners and reshape it to get what I want. There we go. And I click on it again, press Control and Arrange. I've got to Send to Back. So I'm going to keep on doing this. I hope it is rewarding for you. This is something I've just been having fun doing the last week or so, messing with drawing cars in Illustrator. But if there's a specific thing that you want me to get into or touch on or address or don't understand, go back, I can do that too. So just want to reiterate that. Now, because I have layers on, got to click back on this layers tab, and look here, I've got the background, right, which is where my car model is, and I'm tracing. I click on the eyeball to turn it off. And I've got to see, cool, I've got my two tires. Now, I'll make the tires more 3D in a little bit. What I want to do right now, though, is you can see I'm still on my wheels layer. I'll go ahead and drag a selection over these, everything there, with my selection tool on, and I've got a group. Now, these tire shapes are going to move on their own. I can add more detail to them later on, but that'll do for now. I want to get into the body. I've got a little bit of a perfectionist, so I want to make sure it's all right. So, okay, we got some tires. Now I want to get the body shape of this car. I've got a whole bunch of like different sort of shapes here. I've got a pen tool is what we used to draw in Illustrator. This draws paths. We've talked about paths, right, with the shapes and all of that. But the pen tool allows us to just draw the shape, which I like. I'm going to go ahead here and press the caps lock key to turn it into this crosshair, this X, so I can see better what I'm doing. The little shapes are cute and everything, but sometimes it doesn't really help. And now I'm going to zoom in, Command plus, 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 so you can see I'm just following the edge of the car and not doing a very good job of it. I'm coming down to, click that edge there and this one, and I'm just going to keep going around the car to trace this edge. I'm going to come here to properties and uncheck fill because you can see it's already trying to fill in everything here. So that's not what I want. I'm just going to outline it now. And this, this is another technique that really carries over from Photoshop, using paths like this to make selections. This is really similar to the polygonal lasso tool or the magnetic lasso tool. I've got it right. And we see like kind of goes there. I've got it. Just going to go ahead and come across here, and I'll make this wing a little later. I'm just kind of selecting around this car. Now, there are other ways to do this, but this is a great way to figure out, what paths are and how they work. And I'm going to show you when I started drawing cars last week. I've recently found this YouTuber who does something similar, and he cuts out things a little differently. He's better at it than me. It's really good at what he does. I'll find all that out for you. Here, I'll get that pipe in there, and then we'll kind of go around. Don't worry about the curves or anything. I'll get into that later. But you see what I'm doing, right? I'm just kind of tracing around the outline of the car. You can see that's where the door meets, so I'll have to remember that. We can get the kind of the cool outline shape and everything like that, but I've been feeling like what's really made these illustrations is sort of the details that you throw in, right? The lights and all of that. And I've got to like continue to go around. So what I'm doing now is I'm thinking from the background forward. And so the thing that I'm doing now is just giving myself a general car shape. Image Trace might be able to do this well. That's something that definitely we should experiment with. But, that's a little bit of the machine doing the work. And we want to kind of figure out where these edges are so that we can make a good selection. And this is just a straight one. I'm not using the curved path tool right now. And boop. Okay. Command 0. I can see the whole thing on my screen. This is that whole path I just clicked through. I'll choose fill now. And black and just click off of it so I can show you what I'm, escape to get out of this tool, layers, and I'll turn off the photo layer again. And it's working. Have to be patient, right? It takes a minute to get through all of these steps. Cool, okay. Oh no, what I did, I broke my rule. I want to actually keep all of these layers separate from each other. And so I'll make a new layer, and I'm going to call it body. That's just capitalized because I have my caps lock key on. All right, body, right? So now I have this one in here. And when we look at layers, you're looking from the top to the bottom. So the thing on the bottom, the car picture in this case, is behind everything else. So what I'm going to do now is actually turn off this body layer altogether. And then I'll do like I did in that other one. I'll make a new layer and call it details. I double clicked on it. I'll turn my caps lock key off. Details. I've got to show it, preview it. That's all great. Okay. But I want the details, like the windows and everything, to be on top. I'll do that. Now I'm going to try to do this with an ellipse tool. I've got kind of the hood here. I've got, the face, right? I'll come all the way around to this side. And then I'll choose object. What I want to do, right there at the top of object, transform. I'm going to use shear. And what that is going to do is kind of change the angle of that box, that square that I drew. And I'm just going to kind of match it up to the front of the car. Maybe I can change the axis if I need to. Just kind of better match the shape. I'll leave it like that because I think I've got it right on. Turn the preview on and off, and I'll click OK. So I'm now going to move this into place here and shrink it up a little bit, pull it out a little bit more. I can come here onto the edge of it and rotate it, or with it selected, I can click on properties and rotate it by whatever specific degrees I might want. Here we go. And then I can kind of tilt it to match a little bit, shrink it up again. Here we go. I think that's a good match. I'll change that fill to something else. Just kind of get it going there. I'll come back into my layers and turn my car body back on. Got it off. A little bit at a time. It gets to be closer and closer to what we want. I've got it's really great. So right here under details, right, I have this path, which is sort of the front grille. Turn the body off again so I can trace some more stuff. For the windows, I'll use the curve path tool. And what that allows me to do is come on down here. And when I click this angle, see how it's curved now. That it has to do with it being a vector tool. And these are what we're called Bezier handles that change the way the path works. We'll talk about it more live in class, and I'll be able to talk about it better. Command plus, 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 plus. I want to see what's happening here. So right, it's too much curve. I'm going to choose my direct selection tool and click on this path. I've got one of my anchors. Do you see these things that popped up? These are the Bezier handles. And what they do is they say, this is the direction that the path is going to turn. And so when I get in here and it says handle, the pink smart guide says handle on it, I can click on it and guide that path back to the shape that I want it to take. And if I make it longer, it's going to be a longer curve. If it's shorter, a shorter curve. So you can make it 90 degrees, right, if you drag it all the way back. But not quite. That's not what I want. Then I'll come over to the other handle, right, it's the curve on the other side. Click on it, and I've got to guide that one back into the place where I want it to be. Got to kind of like the bottom one, but I'll see. Oops. I clicked off of it, then I clicked directly onto one of these anchor points over here to where it says handle, and I grab it and just kind of move it around. And so I'm doing this as practice. This helps me. I learn a lot doing something fun. If it's not, sports cars for you, I've got some like sports stadiums, cityscapes, all kind of things that we could trace that have shapes and details that we can mimic and turn them into two-dimensional vector art. Here I've still got my direct selection tool on. I'll click on this handle over here on the left-hand side of the windshield. I came up to the top and started dragging this one down to where I can see it. And I want to make a harder curve. And this one now looks weird because this handle is so long. Again, I'll click back here. I found the handle. It says handle. Right there's my edge. This is my edge that I want. Click. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same with the passenger or the driver's side window. Click. I've got it. Right. It's going to have a little bit of a curve. We'll get back to that. Whoa, that's a lot of curve. Come in here. I'm just going to go straight through the mirror. We'll get back to that. And then here. There's a lot happening there. Let me get back into my direct selection tool and make sure I've got these windows in a shape that I want them to be. Right. Yeah. I think of the Illustrator as shapes, I guess. I think that's probably a good way to think about it. Right. I'm assembling shapes. Whether that's with the, proverbial knives and scissors and erasers that it talks about or in these paths. I've got to make it's easy for me to think about it as shapes. There we go. Okay, almost there. Got it. So sometimes you get a little precious with it. I think that'll do for our purposes here. Again, I'll come back to that. This time I'll use the regular pen tool to make just the straight lines. Pretty straight window. Here. I've got here and rejoin it here. I could and should name these. I think that's the windshield, right? Or is that this? I should name each of these paths. All right. Windshield. That's the grill. I've got a driver window. All right. Cool. So then let me select and deselect out of here. Oh, looks like I made one path too many. Got escape there. Command 0 to bring it back on screen. I'll go to props. I'll go to layers and I'll turn everything back on and the picture off. So just in this 40 minutes that we've been talking, I've brought in a picture, right? I've placed the picture and used paths and shapes and colors and fills and like transform to get us practically a car here. I've got it back in. I'll go ahead and turn that body off again so I can, need to make sure the picture illustration that we're copying is on there in the back. There we go. I'll go ahead and use the rectangle tool to do these lights. I'll go ahead and do this one too. I've got and under properties of those things, for the fill, I'll turn them like a kind of right in that yellowy orange color. And kind of yellowy orange color. Oops, again. I'm going to rotate those a little bit to better match. Oh, they're not orange. Well, I made them orange. They're orange on a Mustang, right? So I'll kind of put this up here. I'll put this over here. And what I'm doing is I came over here with the selection tool and drug it off. And then I'm hovering over the corner to try and to match that at that angle. Okay, that's great. Yeah, let's get into the hood first. So, right, I want to make these kind of effects of the hood slope and the vents and things. I'm going to use the line tool here to just get this one line. I'm going to, I've got it here and come on down here. Boop. And let's zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so there's that line. That's not going to do, right? It's way off now that I've zoomed in. I am going to, again, click on here under the scale tool. You click and hold on it, you get the reshape tool. And I'm going to go ahead and, oops. Here. For whatever reason, I was back up on the details layer. And so I'm on the line layer now. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this line with my reshape tool. And I'll click on it and curve it over here. So now we've kind of made it match the curve of the texture of the hood again. Click in there and make it do that. That's great. Okay. Now, I want to try our width tool, and I'm going to zoom in a little more here. Ah, there it is. There's the width tool. Good. I see. Yeah, I selected two of them. I'm going to go back here. Where did I get this wrong? There. Okay. It's really hard to see now, and that's what I'm kind of struggling with. So I'm going to turn off the car. Right, there's my, whoops. But I want my body, and we'll make that, the stroke of this line will be white. There. Select, deselect. There we go. Right. It's not looking exactly like I wanted, but we can come back. Come back to that one eventually. Got it. Doing this on the fly for an audience is kind of, it's a thought process. I guess that's what I should say. It's a thought process. So I'm just kind of, sometimes I figure out things as I do them, which there is my width tool. Okay. I just couldn't see it. Great. And now I'm going to get out of that width tool because I think I've done what I want to do with it. So yeah, I need to fix this edge here, but I kind of like the way that looks for now. So let's go back to our layers, turn on our car, turn off our body so we can see what else we've got to do. I've got a shape. So for this shape, I'm going to draw like that one there, and maybe I'll draw another one here, and then I'll Command+++. All right. So what I'm going to do, I just made two rectangular shapes. Now I'm going to manipulate these shapes to force them into the shape I want. Maybe skew will be better for that. Transform or shear rather. I think that'll do. I'm going to go for that right now. And then I've got gives a better way to get this shape that we're after, more or less. Visually, what I'm thinking of here is like, I want it to fix to a point. I want this anchor or rotating. I've got is to make this smaller. There we go. I've got to really want to do. I'm going to take my direct selection tool. I'm going to click on this one anchor there. Much better. Okay. None of these fancy tools. That's the old time thing. Just take one part at a time and yank it into place. In some home stuff, we used to say beat it to fit, paint it to match. I'm going to go ahead and click this one here to kind of make a match, but it's still two different shapes, right? Click over here and just sort of beat this one into the shape that I want it to be. But we still have got two different shapes. Okay, so I want to join these shapes. Let me bring this guy in a little bit so he's not in the windshield. Let me see. Let me reshape this. Can I just reshape this one line? Yes. I've got it perfect. Just give it that little curve, right? A little exciting curve. Now, I'm going to click on both of these shapes, right? The two sort of hood ornament, the shape and the hood. And I'll go ahead under the shape builder tool over here on the left-hand side, click on that and see how I have both of these shapes selected. I'll just click and draw right through them. And I made that into one shape. I've got them now. We've got this whole shape on the hood. I've got layers. I'll click on the body. I'll click the picture, the Command 0. Right. We've suggested that shape, that texture on the hood with that little ornament there. So again, I'll click on the layers and I've got my photo on, turn my body off. And here I have a few more of those little shapes that can do this decorative part, and I can take I want to make a line here that's going to be this door, and I'll make a line here that's going to be this door. I'll go ahead and Command++ to zoom in some. Oops, I don't want whatever that is. Right, so here I have the little grill thing, and so I'm going to click on this. Oops, click on this path, and let me drag it out of the way there. You have to have, when you are in here and this little, watch it pop up, that castle looking thing pops up, that's telling you can move it now. If it's not on, you're not going to move it. So, right, that doesn't quite match, and I don't think the shear is going to do it for me. So I'm going to click once on this and just grab that path anchor and move it around there. And there are more details we can put into this particular one, but I'm going to go with that for now. Here's this path. This is a line that I drew, right? Just a simple line. I'll bring it up here to connect it to the top, and then click and drag this thing out of the way. I've got here. Oops. Double click here. Yeah. Double click. And then I'm going to kind of connect it to the bottom, but see how it also has a curve. So I'll use that reshape tool again, like that. I'll do the same thing over here. Click on this path, line it up from the top to the bottom of the door, then use the reshape tool to mimic this. Whoa. Oh, that's the eraser. Don't want that. Use the reshape tool. Command Z is what I just did to get rid of that. So again, I have to click to select it, then click on the reshape tool, and I'm just kind of dragging it on here. Oh, yeah, let me get the door. It's a straight rectangle, but I can take the properties of that rectangle or command zoom in and grab these curves and match that curve. Let's change that stroke to make it a little thinner. We could change the weight of these strokes to make them appear, a little variety makes it look as if it's different. I'm going to make those not 100% white, but like off-white, or actually off. I've got it white. Oh, and there's the one more thing I wanted to get done. I'm going to go ahead and come back under layers, find my driver window. This is why you name layers, and find this. It's easiest for me to do it this way. I like using the pen tool. I like just outlining things. Again, this is just a holdover from Photoshop. It's just what I'm used to, and it's the way I work. Other people work different ways. The car guy I was telling you about, it's like he somehow was able in his mind to combine shapes and then use the shape builder to make new shapes. And I'm kind of not at that level yet with that method. This is the way I like to do my stuff. So, okay, I've made it a path again. Click on properties. I'll click on fill. I'll make it not quite, I've got black because I'm going to come back and turn on, I've got its body, and I'm going to turn off the background. I've got it right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, right. It's 3:00 now, and I don't want to keep you any longer watching a video online today, but I wanted to take the opportunity to go over some of those essential skills. And oops, I've got my driver's side window. Sorry, I just noticed that. Turn on all the eyeballs. Right. So just in the course of an hour, right, I opened up this photo, I placed it in a Illustrator document, and I drew a bunch of stuff. The cool thing now, obviously it's not done, it's a ton of work to do. The cool thing now about vector art specifically is that this can be any size at all. You can make it bigger, smaller. Eventually, we're going to learn how to put text in everything. And I've got one of these. Here's the first GTX that I was messing with. So I did this 2 different ways. And it's important to me that people enjoy working with these kind of tools because it is creative. I think this looks really cool, even if it's just kind of messing around, sketching, getting a handle on tools in Illustrator. It's the kind of messing around that helps us get into it. I did another Mustang too recently. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope you all think that is fun. I sure do. And it's after 3:00 now. I'm going to go ahead and sign off and end this meeting. I really appreciate y'all coming in. I wasn't sure what to expect today, but if you have any questions, go on and, thank you, Nicole. That's great. Right. I just feel like this will be more fun than Docs and Diner and whatever. These other tutorials, they didn't look that much fun to me. And as an introductory class, I really want to be, the guide on the side and sort of push y'all ahead, rather than turn you off to something that I think has a lot of power. So this is recorded. I'm going to pull it down and put it in my video thing, and then we'll meet again on Monday and dig a little deeper into Illustrator, all right? So thank you. I really appreciate you being here today. Enjoy the rest of this snow day, and I'll see you on Monday, all right? Thank you.